Assalamualaikum everyone. We are back again with another episode of the Crossbar Perspective podcast. And just like every day, we have someone who has an experience playing football. She recently came to Pakistan and played football over there. So today we'll be talking to her about her experience, and I hope we get to learn something. We have Marsha Malik with us. Assalamualaikum, Marsha. How are you doing?
Welcome, Sam. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All good. Thank you so much for coming over. I am hoping we have a wonderful conversation.
No, likewise, likewise.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's start like how did you actually start playing football? When did it start and what was the main inspiration?
so I started. This is my third season of football here in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I started around 2 years ago. I graduated university and I got a job, and just due to the kind of I think it's like the pressure of that kind of level of football and the kind of commitment it takes. It's quite hard to do that whilst also juggling like a full-time job as well. So
So how do you tackle that? Like we have had other players over the podcast who, who are maybe just in their A levels or maybe some are in the universities. Or we just had Maria Khan yesterday and obviously she's into football full time. So how are you tackling this?
So I've always played sport from like a young age, and I've always like studied as well. So I think it's always been a part of my life. So it's always been something that I've learnt to juggle and manage like throughout the years. It's just now it's football for me. So I think it's hard, and obviously because of the level that um, you know, my previous club was at, it just didn't suit me and my lifestyle at the time. So I decided to move to a different club, and that's the club I'm currently at, Solihull Moors. And I've been there for 2 seasons now, my second season there. And yeah, like it's difficult at times, like when you're like working full time and training. 3 times a week, and then game days on a Sunday. Like it is difficult. But I think you just have to stay really determined and, like if you want it like enough, then there's no reason to like stop you.
Yeah. What's your daily routine like while you're like, working and, playing?
Um, so for example, tomorrow, I've got work. I'm working, so I have a hybrid role. So I'm in the office like 2 days a week, and then I'm working from home 3 days a week, which is quite handy. So tomorrow, for example, I'm gonna wake up around 7ish, get ready to leave for work. I think my train comes in at around like 20 past 8. Get to work for 9. Finish work around 5, quarter past 5. Get the train home. Typically home before just before 6 o'clock. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll go in. Tomorrow I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of studying before I head off to football, which is around between 7. I have to be there between 7:15 and 7:30, like between that time, and then we finish around 10 o'clock. And then I'll come back and then like just yeah decompress from a long day. So I'll do that on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, and then Thursday slightly different but quite similar. Just I'll be working from home. Rather than having to go into the office. So that's typically my routine, like when I have a
Gotcha.
training.
And what position are you currently playing at in the club?
Oh, so currently we've had some new management. So he's kind of trialing me out in a different position. So I normally
Hmm.
play as like a centre attacking midfielder, like a number 10 role, but now I've been put up front. So yeah, it's a new position and I do enjoy it. So yeah, currently that's what I'm playing right up front.
Gotcha. And what was that the same position you were playing back at Karachi United?
Karachi United, no. I think when I played for KU, I was playing in like a number 6 role,
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
8, and sometimes it would be a 10. I think it just depend. Like it was really dependent on like who we were playing and the
Mm-hmm.
players that we had fit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it did change, and I think I'm not sure if I don't know if I did go up top. I'm not actually too sure off the top of my head.
Gotcha. How was that experience like? How are you actually called? Like you told us that you started playing 3 years ago. How did you transition to Pakistani football? Who called you? And like, how was the experience over there?
The experience was like amazing. Like I think it was something. I think I've mentioned it before in a few of the like interviews and stuff, and I think it was something that really changed my perspective on football.
Hmm.
And I think you know it was something I probably won't forget like ever. Like coming over, I think it was my second time ever coming over to Pakistan, and
Uh-huh.
I've like to come and just play football. It was just surreal, and like yeah, I think it was just such a good opportunity for me to come over there and just play football. Really, it was crazy.
Gotcha. How were you called? How did Karachi United approach you?
So I don't remember the Instagram name. Like I don't know the
Oh,
person
okay, okay.
like exactly,
Hmm.
but it was through
You were
like
basically contacted through Instagram.
yeah, it was like really
Hmm.
random. Like it looked like one of those like I'm sure you probably get them with your accounts and stuff. Like the fake
Yeah.
accounts that like look a bit
Yeah, yeah,
dodgy, and I
yeah,
was like, what is this? And it just ran. I just randomly like happened to come across it, and I messaged them back, and I was like, what is this? And then eventually one thing led to another, and yeah, it was just crazy.
Gotcha. How was that experience, like playing in Pakistan with Pakistani girls? Obviously, I think there were one or two other diasporas in Karachi United as well. How was that like playing with those girls, from UK to Pakistan?
It was different. Like I'll have to be completely honest. Like initially at the start, like I was really taken aback because I was like, oh my gosh, wow, there's like so many different factors I didn't consider coming here. Like for example, the language barrier. Like it was something I just didn't think about, and I just think that was a bit of naivety from me. I just didn't think about it at all. And then obviously like the weather change, and obviously like right now in the UK, like I had a game called off last week because it was snowing,
Yeah,
and
same.
like
It was like we had a snowstorm coming over. Yeah,
oh, did you? Yeah, like it's
yeah,
just crazy how different the weather is and like having to adapt to that. I remember my first game, like I'd literally landed and it's not even been like 24 hours and I've played my first game, and I remember like a girl on the opposite team had like passed out, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like the heat is clearly like something that I just you don't think about it. I think it's just something you don't think
until you
about here.
get on the pitch and you go through all of that, you can't basically tell what it actually feels like. Yeah,
No, honestly, like when people say it's hot, you're just like, yeah, 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 like it's fine, but it's just so different.
yeah. So let's talk about you. You told us that you started 3 years ago, right? That was
Mhm.
like around A levels. What were the challenges that you faced while starting football? Maybe from your family side, or overall culturally, socially.
To be honest, it feels like such a long time ago now, but I started playing football when I was in my first year of university. So,
Hmm.
no, was it first year of uni? Yeah, I think, yeah, or like a couple years into university, I'm not too sure.
Hmm.
And at the time, like my parents were like really shocked because like I'd never really thought about playing football like ever. Like it was always as a kid, like from the age of like 8 all the way up until I was about 18, I played tennis. So like
Hmm.
football had never been something that was on the cards before. And I remember when I told them, I was like, yeah, mom, dad, I'm gonna go play football, and they were like, what? They were just really shocked. Like they weren't really against it, but they were just like really shocked because they'd never really heard me talk about it, which makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense because I'd never spoke about it.
I mean, if we compare, here in the US, the football, the female football specifically, and then back in the UK, the competition's way, way too much in the UK. So how did you, get into that? You just started like 3 years ago. You hadn't played football before that, and you didn't have proper training. How did you, get a fit into the team?
Um, honestly, I don't know. I think, like as a kid, like you play with like you play with your cousins in the garden and stuff, but it was literally never ever more than like kicking a ball around in the garden, like
Hmm.
ever, like literally ever ever.
Yeah.
Um, like in P, like in school, like we'd do like football sometimes, but it wasn't very often. And honestly, that is
Hmm.
literally how much football I've had in my life before like
Hmm.
this happened.
Gotcha. And my next question would be, when are we hoping to see your national team debut? And like, how do you feel about that?
That's a good question. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's obviously a few like issues in that I have currently at the moment with the whole passport. I'm sure you've heard it
Mm-hmm.
many a times, from other players. So for me, like once I have my passport, I'm hoping that like an opportunity may arise. I obviously can't say for sure. It's got a decision that's completely out of my control, but once that passport is here, I'm hoping 2025 is the year that I do get it. And then yeah, then hopefully maybe this year you'll see the
How do you
debut.
feel
But
about it? How do you feel about it?
I think it's a massive opportunity. I think I've never again like it's not something that you know I'm probably not like a lot of the other girls where, you know, it's been like a dream my whole life. Like, I'll be completely honest, it's something that, you know, I didn't really think about until, you know, I was offered to come to Pakistan, and, you know, hearing people talk, you know, about these opportunities. It's something that, you know, has kind of, I would say, kind of potentially been an opportunity I just never realised. So yeah, I think the opportunity does sound very promising, and it does sound very exciting. But again, you know, it's not in my control. So, you know, we'll
Yeah.
see.
So coming to the next question, which player do you idolize the most, you know, in international football or even in Pakistan national team?
Um, Women's or men's? Because
Both.
yeah, I do have both, to be fair. I think with the women's, I think I've said it before. It's Spain's number six. I can't say her name very well, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it. But she just won the
Uh-huh.
Ballon d'Or.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. I think she plays
yeah,
for Barca, right?
yeah, she plays for Barcelona.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
She's probably like my women's idol, to be honest, in terms of football. And I
Mm-hmm.
think men, I know it's really cliche, and, you know, most people are like, oh, whatever, but I'm a Messi fan, so it's got to be Messi. I'm so sorry.
I mean, that's sad to hear, but okay. Who in the national team, maybe? Someone in the national team?
um, oh, that's a good question. I'm not actually too sure off the top of my head.
I mean,
I don't.
that's totally fine because I believe you haven't been like, you know, played with them that much, so it makes
Yeah, I
sense.
don't. Yeah, I don't really know many of the girls like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I've spoken to you, but I don't really. I don't know. I've not really played with them or even against some of them. So
Mm-hmm.
off the top of my head, I can't. I don't think I'd be able to answer. Sorry.
Gotcha. It's totally fine. Let's talk about your club back in the UK. How's that experience
Mm.
going so far? And like, how are you, you know, coping up with the new coach? How's that going for you?
So back in, I think it was like October time, our management staff walked out. Um, it
Yeah.
was a very pivotal time for us. Like, we were kind of even getting to the point where our club might actually fold. That was how
Oh,
bad
okay.
the situation got. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we didn't have management. We had interim staff for about 5 weeks, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really difficult. Like, you know, me and a couple of the other girls, like, we kind of had to like rally together quite a lot. But now we've got a new manager, and he's like done so much work behind the scenes. We haven't had any positive results just yet, but again, it's like a
Yeah.
whole rebuilding structure.
Hmm.
And we were hoping to get our first result in on the weekend just gone, but the game got called off. So yeah, hopefully this weekend, you know, we do pick up some positive results. But it's been very, very difficult.
I hope you do. Yeah. How do you how do you, you know, cope up with those losses? Like, if we turn out to the professional players, obviously they have, you know, been playing football for since they were really, really young. How do you manage that with a full-time job and then, you know, all of that stuff? Because I
To be
personally know I have played football. I know it's really, really tough, you know, after a loss.
I do agree. Like, I do definitely agree. I think because I'd come from such an individual sport,
Hmm.
when I transitioned into this multiplayer sport, it was so hard for me because I was like, I feel like I just always constantly wanted someone to blame because I was like, oh, it can never be me because like it's a team sport, like, type of thing. And obviously that was like a very immature mindset to have, and now it's completely changed. And I think sometimes with football it just doesn't go your way. Like, no matter what happens, like, your team can play absolutely amazing, and you just want somebody makes a mistake, or like there's just like a little, like, somebody just does something amazing, and then all of a sudden the whole game's flipped on its head. So I think with football, like, it's very momentum based, and I completely respect that sometimes it goes one way and completely goes a different way another day. Like, it's hard, but I've learned to accept it.
What's the most challenging game you have played, maybe in the UK or and in the national championship in Pakistan as well?
In the UK, the most challenging game I played. Ooh. Okay. I do actually remember the most challenging game I played. I think. No, actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to go in with the nationals, because the UK, I don't know. There's so many I can think of, but
Hmm.
in the championships, I would say there was probably two that stood out the most. I think they're pretty obvious. One was the semi final against Legacy,
Legacy, yeah.
and and the third place game, both of which I think were so mentally and physically exhausting. The semi final, yeah, I can't even, to be honest, even now thinking about it, I
How many
get
games?
so
How many
frustrated.
games? And like how many days of practice did you have with Karachi United before the national championship?
Oh, that's a good question. Before the national championship, like before it started,
Yeah, yeah.
I landed the day before the game, so
Oh, so you
I
didn't
didn't
have you didn't
train.
get to play with the girls and all of that.
No. The only time I got
Oh,
to
okay,
play with them, I warmed up with them, and then I didn't play the
okay.
first half because I was struggling to control my body temperature. And then I went on in the second half, and that was the first time I played with them. That was it, literally. Yeah, it was
Understood.
crazy,
How was that? How was
literally.
that like? Like playing with a bunch of girls for the first time on such one of the biggest tournaments in Pakistan.
Honestly, I can't even describe it to you sometimes. Like I think about it, and I'm like, wow, like that was like honestly, like the whole experience was crazy. Like the fact that
Hmm.
like I played a whole game of football and I didn't even know some of the girls' names. Like I'd just be shouting like yes, yes, like I'm trying to call for the ball. Like honestly, like I look back and I think, what the hell? But that is literally what would happen sometimes. Like what during the game, especially the first one, because obviously you meet everybody, they introduce themselves to you, but you're not going to remember
Yeah,
like 20
yeah,
girls' names.
yeah.
Like it's very hard. Obviously you do remember a few, but yeah, it was difficult. I look back now, it's quite funny, but yeah.
Obviously, like I wasn't aware of the fact that you landed a day before the tournament. I thought that you had a camp or two with them because all of the other diasporas, even like Karachi City, those are the biggest rivals of Karachi United. How did you
Mm.
feel that, by the way, in the tournament or within the team, the rivalry?
I wouldn't say within the team because like
Hmm.
I wasn't like it wasn't really something that was spoken about much like in
Hmm.
front of
Hmm.
me, I would say.
Hmm.
Maybe other players feel differently, but for me I didn't really feel like it was so much in the team. But when you kind of stepped outfield, like when you were out kind of like in Islamabad, like when we were all kind of there, like when all the teams were watching each other play, I think then you could sense like a little bit of rivalry. But I don't think it was like hostile or anything. Like I think it was like a very
Hmm.
competitive sense. Like it was
Hmm.
something that we like,
Hmm.
yeah, like you do want to impress everyone that's watching. You do want to, like it was that kind of mindset. Well, I had that kind of mindset. But again, I completely understand if other girls felt differently because whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was yeah, it was yeah, it's hard to explain, but yeah, it was cool though.
How would you compare the girls in Pakistan? Obviously, I believe you did see Karachi City play, and like the team they have, most of the girls they have are playing for the national team right now, and then Coach Adil Rizki and all of those things coming into play. How would you compare the Pakistani girls with the UK girls where you play with them?
I think it's quite hard because obviously
Hmm.
I've not actually played with the Casey girls. I've not played with, like any of them before,
Yeah,
so it is quite hard to say. But from what I've seen, like I think
like you can even
um
compare the ones you like Karachi United girls with. I'm trying to get to the point where we can compare the Pakistani talent with the UK talent.
okay, fine. Like the pool of UK talent, like the women's get like the girls from the UK and the girls from Pakistan. Like obviously there is a massive disparity. Like not in terms of like technical stuff and stuff like that. Because
Mm-hmm.
that some players have that. Like some players in Pakistan will have that, and some players in the UK will just won't have that. But just general levels of fitness. Like obviously I can't comment like too much about fitness because when I came over there, like it was so hot. I was not even used to it at all, and I probably wasn't as fit as I would have been, let's say, if the temperatures or the weather was completely different. So like I would say like the levels of fitness, I think that was the main and like the biggest factor for me, where like it just didn't seem that players were super fit. But again, like it's hard with the weather, and I'd just say intensity as well, that it differed so much. Like I would say from when we played the group stage games to when we kind of went to Islamabad and we played like that, even that was a massive jump between
Hmm.
the group stage and the kind of second group stage, I think it was called.
Yeah, yeah. The
Like
round of
that was,
whatever it was.
yeah, I
Yeah,
actually can't remember. I think 16 or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Or I don't know. So yeah, like that was quite big as well. And then when it went to like the semi final, like again, I felt like the jump was not as big, but there was still a little bit of a discrepancy. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think there is a massive difference, but circumstances are different, and I think it is quite unfair to compare. But I do think the girls in Pakistan, like from what I did see and came across, the effort is unmatched.
Hmm.
Like the effort girls put
Gotcha.
in, and it it's just something that you do see in the UK, but I think sometimes you take it for granted in the UK, is how I'll describe it.
Yeah, because UK is a place where it's football all day long, and
Hmm.
it's not something like we have in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Especially like the years we are in right now, that's when the female football is being promoted the most in Pakistan. Before this, we didn't get to watch this much, football in Pakistan.
Hmm.
How would you say, like you guys ended up in the semifinals, and obviously you lost to Legacy. Legacy had like started their women national team, a women team, like 3 to 4 months ago, and it was an outstanding job by their coaches and the girls. How would you, what do you think was the match like with Legacy? And even before that, how did your team play?
I think with the legacy game, obviously it has been quite a while, so like the feelings, the way I
Mm,
feel have obviously changed. But I think from like, a Karachi United perspective, I think it was a very poor game. I think the first half, I think there were so many mistakes. Um, not like I'm not going to point any like people out or players out, but I think that like some players were quite nervous. Obviously, it's such a big stage. Like you said, it's the nationals. Everyone is kind of nervous. They all want to do well. Everybody wants to impress. You have important
yeah.
people watching. So I think obviously that was a massive factor. And then like
Mm,
on top of that, on top of some silly mistakes from the team, it. I think obviously the scoreline was 6-0. It obviously looks like you've been absolutely demolished. But I think, in my opinion, it wasn't reflective of Karachi United's ability. Again, as a player, it might seem like I'm being quite biased, but
would you
I
blame
don't
that
think.
more on the tactical side, the players, or the coaching, the
No, I don't.
leadership?
I don't think it was I don't think it was the coaching style. I'd say
Mm,
it was to do with like. I think it was to do with like players, not specifically like anyone, but like more so the fact that I think we were all ready for the game, but we weren't ready for the match. Like I don't know how to explain what I mean by that, but like everybody was ready because it was the semi final, but like nobody was ready to play. I didn't feel like the whole team was ready to play the match to win the game. Everybody was just playing to
mm,
play the semi final.
mm,
I don't know how to. I don't know if I'm getting it across in like a very like good way, but I just think that some players were really ready for it and some weren't. And I think obviously with a team game, you all have to be ready, otherwise the result just won't come your way, which is what
yeah,
happened.
obviously.
And it was very hard to keep a cool head like during that whole game. It was yeah, no, it was hard, but it is what it is. We lost, but at least we managed to kind of, secure a podium place.
Yeah. What was the one thing that you were really, really surprised at when you landed in Pakistan and, after you like played the championship? One thing.
I think it was the kind of support that you got from like everyone, like
Mm,
literally every single person, like whether be it like a coach from the opposition, like players from the opposition, even just people like people locals that were just watching, like that for me surprised me massively. Like I just didn't expect it, like especially for someone that's like only come over, like nobody kind of is aware of where you've come from or like where you've played football before. And I think just having that like support from just like people that you've met like once or twice or not even spoken to, I think was the biggest standout for me. And it was like really 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 nice to have.
mm. Are you offered like opportunity to play again from another club in Pakistan right now, or like if we have the championship again, will you be coming back to Karachi United, or would you change your mind?
um to answer the first part of the question, currently as it stands, like it's not like an official offer, if you get what I
Hmm.
mean, but
Yeah, yeah.
I officially don't have any offers like from anybody. I've been in contact with like obviously people from Karachi United still, but because obviously we're not entirely sure what's happening with the whole. Well, I'm not too sure much. I don't know much about it, but from what I've been
Hmm.
told, there's like quite a lot of stuff going on in the background, which has kind of made the Nationals undetermined for the
Yeah,
following
yeah, yeah.
upcoming
There's
year.
like they're still waiting for the new electrical body to be elected, and like elections are still being held, and a lot of football activities have been paused because of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think obviously that's also I think is potentially maybe a factor, but currently as it stands, no, I don't officially have an offer
Mhm.
from anyone. No.
And if you don't, which club would you, like to play? If you could, tell them that I would like to be part of this club for the next championship.
Um, I I don't know. I think obviously like Karachi United offered me the
Uh,
opportunity initially, so I it would be silly of me to be like, oh, I'm gonna move away from them like straight away. But again, like it's all new to me, and like I'm not gonna say right now that yeah, okay, I'm gonna go
when
there
you
straight
were
away.
visiting Pakistan, did Karachi United, make sure of all of your expenses and your living, all of that, or was that on your own? If you
No,
want to answer
they
that.
no no they covered every single cost for me,
Oh, okay,
every
okay,
single thing,
gotcha.
flights, food. Like I didn't I didn't pay for a single thing. Like
Hmm.
Karachi United paid for every single thing that I literally touched. Like
Coming to the end of the podcast, what do you think would be one advice that you would like to give to the girls out there who are still young and they're trying to pursue football in Pakistan, firstly, and then if they want to transition out of Pakistan, what would your advice be?
I would say just work hard. I know it's really probably what everybody would say, like an answer everybody would give, but I
Mm-hmm.
think just work really hard and like put in the extra gym sessions, go on the extra run, do your plyometrics, like do everything that you're asked to do to be a footballer, but do it 10 times more, because there's always
Hmm.
somebody that's doing the same amount. Like everybody does the exact same. If the gym
Yeah,
instructor
yeah,
says everybody go do the workout, the routine, everyone's done it, but like you need to do something that sets yourself apart. And I think with looking for opportunities abroad, I read something today, literally just before we did this podcast, and I think opportunities abroad are hard. But
hmm,
again, if you kind of are quite active, you have a good social media presence, if you kind of promote yourself, because you have to be your biggest fan. Like nobody else is going to do it for you. So
right.
I'd definitely say that put the time and effort into yourself in terms of building your social media presence, doing things like this, like there's so many opportunities that you can have in women's football, especially
Yeah.
in Pakistan. So I'd say say yes to everything, and just see where it can all take you, and just yeah, be open and
Hmm.
happy to take any opportunity.
Gotcha. My last question would be, what do you think is your future in football? Like, are you thinking of retiring soon, or you also have a job? So, like, what is it that's up with that?
um I think my future at the moment is to kind of continue playing. Like I don't see myself hanging up
Mm,
my boots anytime soon.
mm,
Um, I'll probably be looking to go back to, the tier three level of football here in the UK. Not maybe next season, if not this season after, just obviously to get that fitness level back up. I'd say that's my, kind of short term goal in terms of football. My longer term goal, I think, I don't know what the future holds with the national team, but if that opportunity arises this year or the year after, then yes, that would be definitely something I would like to
gotcha,
consider and take up.
gotcha.
So yeah, no, not retiring anytime soon.
That's good to hear. Again, thank you so much for coming over and speaking about your experience. I hope to see you again once we have some matches going on in the Pakistan national team, and then I think we'll have more to talk about. Thank you so much for watching, and it was a pleasure having you over. Take
No,
care.
thank you.